I would have never expected to be able to do a job entirely in French or just in another language in general, but I really proved myself wrong with that. The prospect of studying abroad kind of made me interested in my major and exploring that a little more. So the two were kind of connected in that way. Recess would have given me the opportunity to explore some of my passions from when I was younger age. A lot of times when I'd come on for announcements, I'd almost start speaking in French, and I'd have to stop myself and be like, wait, no.
Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Ella, and we are homeschoolers. We met through a homeschool community called Recess, where we found our love for learning and podcasting.
Come join us on our journey of self-directed learning as we dive into all the things about Recess on our
Recess Rundown podcast.
And we will hopefully see you there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Recess Rundown podcast. Today, we are joined by a guest who is currently calling Paris home. We will chat about the ups and downs of living abroad, from overcoming language barriers to finding a new sense of independence. Let's welcome Abby. Thank you for being with us, Abby.
Yay, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course. So, as we mentioned, you're currently studying abroad. Why did you decide to study in Paris?
Yeah, well, I actually just got back from studying abroad, so I'm back in America now, but I got back like 2 weeks ago, yeah. I decided to study abroad because it had always been a dream of mine since I was a kid to live in a different country, and to study in a different country, and France in particular was one that, Paris always just is very exciting to me. And when I was little, I actually went to Paris with my parents, and I remember thinking, I really want to live here by myself and kind of see how that would work. And so it was just kind of a dream that I'd always had since I was a kid. I took French throughout high school, and then, once I got to college, I applied for the program, and I got to live the dream. It was awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've always been interested in studying abroad, and I have a few friends who are a little older than me that are actually busy applying to programs to study in different countries, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity.
So what is one piece of advice you have for someone nervous about traveling to a place where they don't know the language? You mentioned that you took French in high school. Was that enough to get by?
Yeah, great question. For me, yes and no, I'd say. I think, especially in Paris, a lot of French people also speak English, which is very helpful. A lot of times they don't exactly want to be speaking English, so they don't love having to switch to English when Americans or Anglophone people come and don't know any French. But, they're also pretty flexible, so I was able to get by speaking French, but if I ever had difficulty, like, translating something, they were happy to switch to English, which was awesome. But yeah, I don't know, you said advice I'd have, I guess, kind of go in with an open mind, go in like wanting to learn as much as you can. I think a lot of French people were just happy if I started off saying like bonjour, and they were just happy that I put in that effort at all. And I had a lot of friends that didn't speak any French whatsoever. They were just doing English programs, and I think for them, just putting in a little bit of effort when trying to attempt to speak it and also taking French classes while they were there was, a great effort, and the French people respected that. So I think just trying your best and putting a little bit of effort always goes a long way.
Definitely, yeah. Do you have like a favorite thing about Paris?
Great question. I love museums, so I'd probably say all of the museums in Paris are incredible. You can't find museums like that anywhere else in the world. So all of the art museums, all of the history museums too, are just incredible. Also, just Paris is beautiful in general. So I think just the beauty of the city, all the different neighborhoods, there's just so much. Paris is so big and there's so much to explore. I was there for 4 months and there's still so many places that I didn't get to go to that I would have loved to see. So I would say that's my favorite thing.
That's so cool. I love when you're talking about the museums. I also love museums, and whenever I travel somewhere, my family always tries to go to the museums there and just kind of look at the art, mainly for me because I'm really into it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I actually, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to the Louvre the entire time I was there, which is so unfortunate. I had gone to the Louvre when I was a kid, but I didn't get to go in the 4 months I was there, which is so unfortunate. But I did see a
No.
lot of other awesome museums. Yeah.
Well, obviously you've been to Paris before, but what was like one thing that was the biggest surprise when you first moved to Paris for the 4 months that maybe you haven't seen when you were little?
Hmm. It's a great question. Maybe um how much English I heard on the streets, just in general. Like I'd always known that Paris was a big touristic city, but I think I didn't realize how many I would hear. But it was also pretty easy to tell when you would hear English on the subways. Americans tend to be a bit more obnoxious, so you would just be on the metro and just hear a group of Americans talking loudly. It's very easy to point them out amongst the Parisians who's American and who's tourist. It's pretty easy to tell. But I'd say that was probably most surprising to me. I think I wouldn't have expected to see so many Americans, but it was also kind of like it was kind of made me a little bit happy to see people and be like, oh, back home. Yeah, it was pretty.
Okay, so for our next question, we've talked about, yeah, you're in Paris, you're studying abroad, but what are you studying? Why are you in Paris?
Great question. I'm studying international relations, so kind of perfect for traveling with that and studying abroad. Most of the people in my major are also studying abroad at this point. Um, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like with studying international relations, being able to experience a different culture and live in a different culture was something that I really wanted to be able to experience for my major. Yeah.
That's cool. Was that something that you kind of always had pictured?
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, I think honestly, even when I was a kid and I wanted to study abroad, international relations wasn't something necessarily that was on my radar in terms of career. Um, so I guess the studying abroad came before, but then I think when in high school, my mom talked to me about how much I love traveling and was like, international relations would be an amazing career for that. And so I think honestly, the prospect of studying abroad kind of made me interested in my major and exploring that a little more. So the two are kind of interconnected in that way, which is pretty awesome.
So you're in school, and I could imagine that it's pretty busy. What does a typical day at school look like for you while you're studying?
Yeah, great question. Okay, so the program that I did, half of it was school, and the second half was an internship. So for the first half, yeah, which was very intimidating. But the program I was doing was in French. The first half that I was doing was in French. So a lot of my classes were also in French, which was incredibly intimidating. Um, but I would usually have um, two classes a day, Monday through Thursday. Fridays we had off to travel, which was very nice. But I would have two, and it was 3 hour long classes, so which is very long time. 6 hours of classes a day when it's back to back like that was not fun. Um, but yeah, so I took one class on Paris politics that was completely taught in French, which was very intimidating. And then I took a multicultural studies class, which was really interesting. It was basically learning how to interact in French culture and learning how to adjust to a different culture, which was very interesting. And with that class, we got to do a bunch of like field trips. So we went to a French high school one day, which was really cool. And we got to interact with the French students, and they showed us around their school and showed us what a typical day in like a French high school would look like. And then we had another field trip that was like we went to an old woman's house, and she taught us how to bake a bunch of like French desserts, which was really cool. But yeah, so usually a typical day would look like classes, sometimes field trips. Sometimes we'd go to different museums, different art museums. It was really cool. And then my school day would end at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I'd have to commute back. And unfortunately, I was living outside of the city, so it was like an hour commute, which was not fun. But I got to go with all of my friends, which was very nice.
Do you like baking?
I like baking a little bit, but I had never um, baked. A lot of the recipes we were doing were like entirely from scratch, And the baking that my family does tends to be like box cakes and recipes like that. So it was kind of it was really cool to see her different baking strategies and to learn about that. It was awesome. Yeah.
Do you have a
Awesome.
favorite French pastry or like dessert?
Favorite French pastry. One of the ones we made was this. It's called fondant au chocolat, and it was like this chocolate, very like light cake. It was delicious. And I'm not even typically a chocolate person. I tend to like fruit desserts more, but it was so good. We also made madeleines. I don't know if you've had madeleines before. Delicious. Those were great too. Yeah.
That's cool. I know, like, oh, French food is just so good.
That was one
Especially
of the
the
things.
desserts.
Yeah. That was one of the things that I loved about being in Paris was getting to eat all the French foods. Yeah. They're delicious. Though escargot, I will say, that one intimidated me a lot, eating snails. But actually, that surprised me. I ended up loving escargots by the end of it. So even the French foods that I was a little intimidated by ended up being great.
It's cool that you went to a French high school. I actually,
Yeah.
last year and then a few years before that, my family hosted French exchange students.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they came to stay with my family, and it was really cool learning a little bit more about France and how they school there. Um,
Yeah,
Speaking about that, has being in a new country changed the way you look at your own education?
definitely. I'd say that their high schools are a lot more intensive. um, Not just the high schools, all of the schooling, the middle schools and the elementary schools too, but they're in school, their school day lasts so long. Like they don't get out of class until like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And it was interesting to learn that they don't even have like extracurriculars usually. They don't have mini clubs after school because they don't have time since their school day is lasting so long. So it was interesting looking back at American schools from that perspective and thinking about, because I just remember like always complaining about like how long I would be at school, but compared to them, it's nothing. They were at school so late. So I think that this definitely made me readjust my thinking and think that my school day wasn't as long as I thought it had been. Yeah,
That's cool. And I mean, even looking at that from a homeschool perspective, where
yeah,
I think a lot of us only have a few hours of schoolwork
yeah,
to like it's done relatively fast. So it's interesting looking at that.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um, do you feel that traveling has taught you things that you couldn't learn from a book?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I'd say definitely, yeah. The experiences that you get from traveling, um, whether it be like a new food that you eat or like going to a museum. I mean, I feel like it's incredibly valuable, and being there and fully experiencing it. Um, and also just, yeah, observing what's around you, the people around you, and at museums, reading at museums. I think that those experiences are something that I could have never gotten from just staying here and even like reading. Yeah, definitely not.
Even while I've traveled, like I haven't really traveled a lot, but I think I've definitely learned things from countries that I've been to, even staying there for a short while. You know, you lived there, so you must have learned
Yeah,
so much. I only learned a few things.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know. It was incredible. Yeah, I feel like just on the daily, like I would learn so much, more than I could ever imagine. Yeah.
I mean, do you think that you learned more French? You know, like that your French has improved?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, when I came into it, I knew some French, as I said, and I took French in high school, but definitely not at all the amount that I know now coming out of it. Because I mean, you're forced to like. I got to the point where I was like thinking in French all the time because like I would have to prepare what I was wanted to say beforehand, and I was constantly thinking about it in my head. Okay, this is what I want to say to this person. So I think after a while, it starts to really stick in there, French instead of English, which was very interesting to see. And I had an internship in French for like 2 months. So working with different people and I worked at a community center, so interacting with the kids at the community center and the adults, and having to, because usually they honestly didn't know much English at all. So speaking to them in French and having to think about what I wanted to say and translate it in my head before saying it, the French that I know now is a lot more than I did going into it. Because also I think the practice that I had beforehand was not nearly to the level, just like being able daily interactions. I think in high school I was kind of scared to have that practice, and whenever I had the opportunity to speak to someone in French, I'd kind of back off and get a little shy and just speak in English. But being forced to speak French at all times is definitely makes me learn more. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so I imagine there's a pretty big time zone shift. So, how do you manage your schedule to stay active with recess while living in a whole different time zone?
Yeah, it was definitely hard at first because I was doing recess from 9 to 10 p.m. at night instead of at 3 to 4, which is what I usually do. Um, so that shift of doing recess at the end of my day instead of just in the middle of my day was extremely different. Um, and as I said, was very difficult at first because I was used to kind of that being my like settle down time into going to bed and getting ready for bed. So it was very different at first, but it honestly made me respect the. I know there's a lot of recess kids who were doing community hour from like the middle of the night or like early morning, and made me respect that a lot. Because doing it at night for me was crazy. So I can't imagine doing it in the middle of the night or early in the morning.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a challenge that a lot of especially some of the European kids
Yeah, yeah,
face.
definitely.
Even the kids in some of the Asian time zones. I mean,
I
a
don't
lot
know
of the
how they
time.
do it. I
Yeah,
respect it. Yeah,
it's crazy. I think
yeah,
my brain would not work doing recess at 10 p.m. at night or something.
yeah. And it was also hard because I would be speaking French for the entire day. And so I would come back to my dorm at night and have to like readjust to English. But a lot of times when I'd come on for announcements, I'd almost start speaking in French and I'd have to stop myself and be like, wait, no, no, no. So yeah, definitely, definitely an adjustment.
So you attend recess community hour and you're a guide in recess, but how did you start this journey? How did you find recess, and what made you decide I want to work there?
Yeah. So I actually, Elena, Chloe, and I don't know if you, I'm sure you guys know Elena and Chloe. We all go to the same university, and we're in a film organization together. And so Elena had told me about Recess last summer when she first started doing it. And I remember thinking, wow, that sounds awesome. And then September came around and she told me that Recess was hiring. And if I was interested, she would refer me. I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I started doing it, I think, right around that time in September of last year. And then Chloe also got referred and joined on. Yeah, I've since then I've been doing community hour a couple times a week. And yeah, I've loved my research journey. It's been awesome.
That's so cool. I didn't know that you guys all went to the same university.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Wow. We recently had Elena on our podcast a few episodes ago.
She told me about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually watched her episode. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
We also have, I don't know if you guys know Wilmer. I think
Yeah.
Wilmer you do know Wilmer. Wilmer is also in our organization. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he got Elena on, and then Elena got Chloe and I on.
I remember Wilmer. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in forever.
I know.
He was there when I first joined Recess.
Whoa. Wow, yeah. I guess that was,
Wow.
yeah. It was a while ago he was on.
Well, kind of keeping on the topic of community hour, tell us about the trivia events that you used to host. What's your favorite part about hosting trivia at community hour?
Yeah. So I started doing the trivia events, I think, in October. I did a little like special Halloween event. Um, but yeah, the idea for doing trivia, I've always loved doing trivia online and watching Jeopardy. And I did this club called Quiz Bowl. I don't know if that's a thing in other places, but I did a club called Quiz Bowl in middle and high school, which is basically a bunch of trivia questions. And yeah, I wanted to bring my love for trivia to recess. So I started doing trivia on Tuesdays with the Halloween event. And then I started reaching out and seeing what people would be interested in having for categories. And I started doing it weekly. Unfortunately, it started to die down, I think, when I went abroad, but I'm loving to bring that back if people would be interested and start that back up in the summer.
That's so cool. I love trivia. I love doing
Ah,
it.
awesome,
Um,
awesome.
it's it's super fun, and there's a specific board game called Linky, which was originally,
Linky.
yeah,
Interesting.
originally a it's from the UK, and then Nick Jonas brought it
Huh.
to North America. Quite
Whoa.
strange, and my family doesn't even play it how it's supposed to be played. It's all about links, but we just do the trivia questions. It's very fun. I
Interesting.
honestly kind of like it because I usually win.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow. Nick Jonas bringing a trivia game to
Yeah,
America. That's
it's
so random, but I love it.
yeah, it's very interesting. It's fun.
That's so cool.
Maddie, do you like doing trivia?
Um, I wouldn't say I'm the best at it, but I mean, sometimes it's fun after I haven't done it in a while.
So we've been talking about what you've been studying and what you're currently doing. And now for the question that we ask all of our adult guests: would you have wanted recess when you were a kid?
Would I have wanted recess when I was a kid?
Yes.
That's a very good question. And the answer is 100% yes. I would have loved recess when I was a kid. I feel like I didn't have, my high school was pretty small, and my middle school too. Where I live, we don't have many extracurriculars. We don't have the funding for that. Um, so I think recess would have given me the opportunity to explore some of my passions from when I was younger age. Um, I love film now. I'm studying international relations, but also film in college with Elena and Chloe. Um, and I wasn't really able to explore that at all until I got to college. And I know you guys have like a filmmaking class in recess, and I think that I would have loved, and also just exploring other interests that I probably now don't even know that I have, but like through recess, I think would have been incredible, and I didn't have an opportunity like that when I was a kid. Yeah, it's really cool seeing you guys exploring different passions and seeing how talented all of you are is incredible to see. So I think I would have loved that when I was younger. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, for our final question, what did you want to be when you were a kid, and did that change over time?
Good question. Good question. I mean, yeah, I think when I was a kid, it changed weekly. So there were a ton of different options that I kind of went through in my head. When I was really little, I wanted to be a pediatrician. Um, for like, oh, that one lasted longer. That was like a couple of years that I was interested in being a pediatrician because I loved working with kids. And then at one point, I wanted to be a veterinarian because I loved animals. Um, I think at one point I wanted to be an actress. I loved acting. I was really into theater. And then I think international relations kind of, as I said, came up in high school. I loved traveling. I traveled a lot with my family when I was younger. And my mom kind of brought it up and was like, you can travel as a job. And then that kind of grew from that. And since then, international relations has been something that I've been really interested in. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool. I mean, were you ever, you said that you're kind of, along with doing international relations, you're doing film. Did you ever think of being a director, or, you mentioned actor, but anything else in film?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think my love of film started from just like watching movies during COVID quarantine. My family would like watch a new movie that my parents like grew up with every night because they had so much they wanted to show us, and it really gave us the time to watch a bunch of stuff. And then, so I think for a while I kind of wanted to do like be a film critic, which is kind of on the opposite side of like the film production, I guess. But then, yeah, I got into film production in college because the organization that me, Chloe, and Elena are all in, and Wilmer actually, Wilmer's the president. We make a short film every semester. So getting to see the different production aspects of that has kind of made me more interested in cinematography or production design, which has been interesting.
That's so cool. I am online. I'm always seeing these, teenagers or younger people. They're all doing. They make these short films during the summer, and I've always wanted to do something like that. I think it would be so cool.
Yeah, you
Awesome that
should
you've
do
done
it.
that.
All right. So, would you like to play a game?
Sure. I'm a little scared though. What kind of game?
We talked about your trivia event that you hosted in recess, but how well do you know your trivia? So we
Okay.
are going to put you on the spot with a round of general trivia.
All right. Okay.
So we figured you of all people should be able to handle this. So here we go.
Oh no. It's a lot of
Okay,
pressure.
so there are a couple questions in total. I think, okay, so a couple questions in total. And we will keep track of your score. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yes.
All right. The first one is, what country has the most natural lakes?
What country has the most national lakes?
Natural.
Natural lakes. Okay. Okay. Wow, these questions are harder than I was expecting. All right, okay. Natural lakes. I'm going to say Greenland?
It's actually Canada.
Canada. Whoa, okay. Interesting. Yeah. I would not have gotten that.
There are a lot of lakes here. They're
amazing. Okay.
Okay. Second, what instrument does Sherlock Holmes famously play?
Sherlock Holmes. I did not know Sherlock Holmes played an instrument. Oh no. This is harder than I was expecting. Okay. I'm gonna have to guess on this one because I have no idea. Trumpet? I don't know. Is that right?
No, it's actually it's the violin.
The violin. Whoa, I did not know that. Okay. Well, this is making me look bad. Oh no.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so this one should be a bit easier.
Okay.
How many sides does a hexagon have?
A hexagon. 6.
Awesome. Okay, what is the fastest land animal?
The fastest land animal? A gazelle, right? No?
It's actually a cheetah.
A cheetah. Oh, okay. No.
How many hearts does an octopus have?
Hearts? Is this a trick question? It's just gonna be one? No. Okay. 3.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. There we go.
Okay, so what is the fear of spiders called?
Arachnophobia.
Yeah. Okay. Second last one. How many bones are in the adult human body?
Oh no. I should definitely know this. 140. I don't know.
It's actually higher. Do you want to guess again?
181.
It's in 200s.
200s. Okay. 250.
Lower. It's in between 200 and 210.
Okay. 207.
You're so one close. Off.
208.
No.
206.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
It's so many. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah. I did not know that.
What is the longest river in the world?
The longest river in the world is the Nile?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That is the end of our questions.
Okay.
4 correct. So, half of them. That's really good.
There we go. We're at 8. It's not terrible.
All right. Okay. So our last guest was Teresa. And what we do is we ask our last guest to make up a question for us to ask our next one. So Teresa's question is, what is something that you thought was too hard to do, but realized that you could do it?
Something I thought was too hard to do. That's a good question. I guess on the topic of studying abroad, I think I would have never expected to be able to do a job entirely in French or just in another language in general. But I really proved myself wrong with that. And I'm glad that I did because I feel like I've gained a lot out of studying abroad in general, but also the experience of working and living in a different language.
I think it's a pretty cool thing to, I don't want to say overcome, but I think you get what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Okay. Do I have to make a question for
Yeah.
the next person? Oh, okay. I'm going to be nice and do a pretty easy question. I'm going to say, who is the person in your life that has inspired you most and why?
Nice. I think our next guest will love you for that.
I'm glad.
We once had a guest ask them to, their question was, who do you like better, Ella or Maddie?
Oh no, that's evil.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I think that was it Ben?
It was Ben.
And how did they answer?
Brienne said that she couldn't choose, which but I think, I mean, it was definitely a very interesting question, but very hard.
Yeah.
Alright, so sadly it is the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Abby, for joining us and being on the Recess Rundown podcast. It was really fun to chat about your experience on learning abroad and just general.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I had a great time.
Of course. If you are part of the Recess community and would like to be on our podcast, please email us, Maddie and Ella, at recessrundown@gmail.com or message us on the Recess platform, and maybe you can be on the podcast too.
Please like, subscribe, and please don't forget to hit that notification button, and we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye!